Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel or you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell so when I get to running this house, baby, you are in the loop. This video response to Kev on stage. Now, this guy, right, he's a comedian. You know how I feel about celebrities. I used to watch some of his videos. He had some decent commentaries on different things, right? And then let me walk and talk, man. Gotta walk and talk. So I'm going through YouTube as you do, and Kev was responding to a post on social media where basically this guy must have posted that black women will get protection when they learn to submit to and listen to black men. Now the video is only 2 minutes long. When I upload this, I'll put the link to that video done by Kev on stage done by Kevin in the description box below. And it's kind of like response to Kev on stage. It's black men that keep the gynocracy going, okay? The failures of the black community. I did a video before called I Blame Black Men for the State of the Community. And to be honest with you, it's like one hand is just washing the other, one hand is patting the other. Okay, let's go back to the lady with the 7 kids. She couldn't have had 7 kids if there weren't multiple men who were willing to give her those children. Okay, I mean, I always place more emphasis and blame on the woman because the woman is the one who has all the reproductive rights and controls. But at the end of the day, you know, she does need somebody who's going to volunteer to give her that DNA, man. And at the end of the day, there was at least 3 men who didn't see a problem with, impregnating this woman because they benefit from the system of feminism. And I've said this a lot. The reason why I'm not really on either side, but I'm more leaning towards men than women, is because the legal system in the West has made it that women can be out of control with no accountability. It's kind of like giving the keys to a Ferrari to a child or somebody who's literally just got their license. They cannot handle that degree of power because they don't have the knowledge and the experience. So because the legal system enables bad behavior, which is destructive to the black community, I take the side of black men more than black women because black women are using their power to destroy themselves. I mean, for people who do read the scripture, the Bible says, don't let your liberty be a stumbling block. Having amounts of freedom actually can cause you to put yourself in a position that you don't need to be in. So Kev starts to talk about basically, how dare this man say that a woman deserves protection when she submits and listens to black men? I'm telling you, the reason why the black community is in the state that it's in is because we have black men who are raised too much under the influence and the thumb of black women. So he proceeds to talk about, Toyin, the activist who was assaulted and murdered. He then talks about the woman with the skateboard and the chick in the dumpster. Okay, I haven't seen the video footage. I'm not familiar really with the story of the woman in the skateboard. Toyin, again, I don't know the whole story, but people get assaulted everywhere all the time and murdered. Okay, yes, she could have been out on the front line, and I get it. She was attacked. That one was tragic, but again, it's not like the only time women get attacked and assaulted and murdered is when they're protesting on the front line. Most people are getting killed in their own homes, and it's by people that they didn't know. So let's not pretend like this incident is a reflection of a wider problem. Then he tried to make her like it's like a black on black thing, like these women are out here protesting. I've already done a video that says I believe black women should stay on the front line with black men, because at the end of the day, this is the time when the tides are changing, opportunities are opening up for black people, and black women are the biggest criers of why these men are not building, why they haven't accomplished anything, why they haven't haven't overthrown white supremacy. Well, here's an opportunity for that actually to become a reality, because for the first time, real dialogue is being made on a grand open scale where black people's issues are truly being discussed. Okay, Then he's like, oh, these women are out here on the front line for us. And I have to give a shout out to SWP, who said, you know what, I would rather black women didn't protest. And I agree with the reason why he said they should come off the front line. It's not because of the masculinization of black women. We don't need anyone to help us to look more masculine, okay? The way that we conduct ourselves, the things that we put out on social media, it already makes us look bad, okay? The reason why I agree with him that we should stop, women should stop being on the front line is because a lot of black women, they have an ulterior motive when they do it. They go out on the front line so they can throw it in the black man's face later. It's just like these women who date compromised men. Like I said, people talked about Brandy and the Baby Mama song. A lot of these women who are crying about colorism, they're picking compromised, weak men who have nothing to offer. So they always have a decent exit strategy when it comes to when they're ready to leave and move on. Oh, I don't like this. He didn't have a job. He wasn't on my level. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. And it's like, but why did you pick him? Why did you date him? Well, I liked him, but it's like the reality is this. And it was a white guy who I first heard say this, actually, that women deliberately pick men who are flawed because they want to know that they have an excuse when they're ready to leave the relationship. Because if that thing was really an issue for you and bothering you, why did you get into that relationship with that guy in the first place? You knew what he was about when you entered the relationship, so why did you go into it? Okay, so Kev then starts talking about how these women are laying down their lives for us. Well, the woman who got thrown in the dumpster wasn't laying down her life for anybody, and the skateboard chick, I don't think she was doing anything admirable either. Okay, and obviously assaults on women are horrendous to watch. It's tragic that at least one of them has lost their lives, but let's not make any mistake that black women are the biggest victims of abuse and violence. How many boys are being abused in their homes all the time at the hands of their mother's boyfriends? How many of them are being abused by their own mothers? How many of them are being neglected? How many of them are being thrown out at a certain age and they're left to fend for themselves in the streets? How many men and boys are being killed by women? Even when we talk about police brutality, the number of men compared to women is like how many times more when it comes to how many men are killed by police versus women. So when he starts talking about, oh, we need to protect black women from us, I said, this is why I can never support celebrities, man. I mean, I knew he was a sellout anyway. I don't even watch his stuff. I haven't watched his stuff for ages. But this discussion about protection and submission, it's always kind of like, it's always a heated topic that needs to be gone into, because the two go hand in hand. If you have a woman who's uncooperative, who's not really receptive to listening to sound advice, guess what? She is going to put herself in positions where she always needs to be saved. That's a liability. That's not an asset to your life. And it's black men who keep the gynocracy going because they're raised under this matriarchy where they're always being told to extol women and to worship them and to see them as the fountain of all knowledge. Because let's just keep it all the way real. So many of them are raised to be, so many of them, they're not raised to be independent thinkers. They're not raised to be masculine men. They're not raised with an example of a masculine man. They're literally just out in the world trying to figure things out. And because everybody who's in the leadership position in their family is female, they automatically assume the most valuable person in the household is the woman. Even when the man is doing everything he needs to be doing in terms of providing and protecting. Look at Ti. Ti is now groveling around the place, having his baby mama come in. I mean, I understand it's Deja's mother. So I respect the fact that he spoke with her, because at the end of the day, they do have a child together. But he's having to now kowtow to the matriarchy, being dragged left and right by women all over the world because he turned around and said, I don't want my daughter to be sexually active. I mean, how many women out here have been sleeping around and they can look back and say, those were the best years of my life. That was the best time of my life when I was being passed around like a party favor. You know, there's no one out here saying this. The women who are saying that, they are dead inside. They are literally like an addict looking for another fix so they can feel human for 5 minutes. They can feel a connection. They can feel something other than emptiness and alone. Okay. And when they're not sleeping with somebody and medicating their loneliness with that, they're medicating it with something else, burying themselves into work, taking drink, taking drugs, whatever. Okay, so let's just keep it all the way 100, man. These guys, these celebrities, he's like, this is not gonna fly over here. We are. I mean, all he had to do was kind of like put, get out his tote bag and just dye his hair blue and say, I'm a feminist and I'm an artist. I can't even say the word. I'm just a pro woman. I worship women. We need to protect these women from us. And I'm like, I put a comment in the comment section. You know how I feel, man, when my comments don't come through, man. The head starts spinning backwards. So I'm just like, oh, I'm going to respond somehow, damn it. And I'm just like, Kevin, as I said in the video with the woman going in the dumpster, this is chickens coming home to roost, man. Like, we create the boys and the males that we complain about. We sleep with them, we date them, we endorse them. You know, ladies, if you ever walk down the street and you see a guy dressed like a thug and he's walking and he's looking at you like, yeah, look at me, man, I'm a thug, man. Look how I've got the latest. He's looking at you to say, don't you see like how my look is on point? We create the men that we complain about because we endorse guys who offer us superficial things, and then we accept it like, you're bringing me something that no one's asking for. And it's like, dudes dudes respond to what women respond to. Like, they try different things, and whatever they see is working in terms of getting that female's sexual attention, that's what they run with. So when you have women out here talking about looks and sex game, a lot of brothers, they will spend a lot of time investing their energy into looks and sex. They never develop the skills that actually make them masculine men able to compete, which is why they end up just being bums, just being homosexuals. That's why they end up sitting on the couch playing Xbox with their other fellow baby daddy while, their 7 kids are being taken into care. And we women who get up on the internet talking about how there's a shortage of men. No, there isn't a shortage of men. Okay? There's a lack of protection of boys. That's the reality of the situation. When you have women who don't take the time out to invest in their sons, to make sure they can read, they can write, that they're not in the streets, that they have a father who's actually a masculine man, they don't make sure they have provision, they don't have a plan for their sons and their boys. I mean, I get it in cultures where girls are not, and I don't want to say girls are not valued, but boys are definitely valued more. It's hard in a Western society where we believe in equality and egalitarianism and women's rights and women's live, that you think that the boys are prioritized over the girls. But what you have to understand is, as much as it's painful, that is the right idea. Because, with all due respect, men are created to work. They're designed in a way that they're not only more suitable for working, they actually derive pleasure from being productive, which is beneficial for the woman and it's beneficial for the children. If the man is able to go out and grind it out and bring home that money, those children will be taken care of, that woman will be taken care of, and society as a whole will function and flow. But when you have a society that is matriarchal, where men are always waiting to be told what they can and can't think, feel, and say, they're always being filtered and checked. I was watching something earlier on today, and like the woman was like, oh, the way you spoke to the woman is disrespectful. Oh my gosh. You see, this is why I can't do lives, man. I can't do lives because my temper's not even short. My patience is like minus figures, because Did you hear any of the point that was being made, or did you just want to come up here and correct a man? And this is how a lot of black women operate. I'm going to run around here checking everybody. I'm going to run around here telling everybody what they can and can't do and can and can't say. And you don't see that with other cultures of women. They understand the importance of being silent. Okay, that woman in the supermarket where the guy pulled the gun on her, it wasn't like she just walked up to the guy or he walked up to her. She's standing in the parking lot shouting and screaming and carrying on. And then afterwards, she tried to pick on the guy who'd already seen her running her mouth outside. And he was like, listen, I already know what you're going to say. Don't bring it here. You know, there's like this guy, he's always begging in my area, not in my area, close to where I work. There's a couple of them, like they're just doing the circuit every single day. Sister, sister, please, sister, sister. As and there's some others, like, but these are females. You know them when you see them. You just know as they spin around what's coming next. And before even half of the first word comes out, I'm like, no. And it's not because, I don't ever give money to homeless people. I do, but I don't believe in encouraging them, and I don't believe all of them are really as desperate as they make out. And it's like, when it comes on to this woman in the parking lot, this man already knew what she was going to come out with, and he was just like, no. And he's not the kind of diplomatic, refined gentleman who's going to be like, sister, thanks, but no thanks, I'm not listening, or let me just ignore you and go my way. He's one of those raw guys who will just tell you, listen, you don't want this smoke. And then she tried to pull the whole, well, I'm I'm your sister, I'm your mother, I'm every woman card. And it doesn't work, man. But the reality is this: black men, they keep the effery going, man. They co-sign the bad behavior. They are the ones who feed the matriarchy and keep these women, feeling like queens and goddesses when they haven't done anything for such a title. Because they're the ones laying up with these women. They're the ones, funding their lifestyle on OnlyFans and thirsting over them through the DMs. They're the ones who are actually, and now you've got this whole pro-feminist, this feminist movement has been going for a long time. Because I remember when Daniel Radcliffe, he actually had a t-shirt like, I'm a male, but I'm a feminist. Okay. But then, now obviously they have to keep the black gynocracy going, because that's the only way to keep the black people oppressed. Keeping black men out of positions of power, keeping black men out of positions of affluence and excellence, by using the women as the right hand of white supremacy. That's how they keep the black community in the state that is in. And Kev is nothing but a paid for shill, man. He's nothing more than a puppet who's set up and paid for by the industry to keep perpetuating a mindset that, we need to protect our queens. We need to protect our queens. It's like, Kevin, like, what are you talking about? He's there talking, and it's, you see, this is why I talk about these feminine minded men. He turns around and uses the scripture saying that basically the woman should submit to God as the man submits to Christ, and Christ submits to the Father. Okay. And then he says, well, I don't even know why I brought the Bible into this, because most of us are not living that anyway. Okay, if it says that the woman should submit to the man as the man submits to Christ, if you pick a man who's not submitted to Christ and he's not doing the right thing, again, the responsibility and the accountability still falls on you, because you voluntarily picked that man. Okay, we don't live in a society that is forced marriage. Okay, a lot of people try to equate um arranged marriages with forced marriages. In an arranged marriage situation, you have two families coming together. Look, I've got a girl, you've got a boy. What can we do? Do you think they'd be compatible? And I understand that sometimes there's a lot of pressure, which means that it goes further from arranged towards the forced side. Obviously, you have the complete force where it's like you meet on the wedding day. I mean, that's nonsense. Biblical marriage, allegedly from the first century, was if a man came and saw a woman that he liked, he would go to the father and the woman, the three of them would draw up, the father of the woman, they would draw up a contract, and then afterwards they would agree on the bride price and everything. And once the contract is signed, they are technically married. This is why, according to scripture, although Mary and Joseph were married, they had not had sex yet because they had signed the marriage contract, but they had not actually gone so far as to do the ceremony where the marriage was fully completed, the house was ready, and then it was ready to be consummated. Okay, so because of the fact that they had this contract, at least legally they were husband and wife, but they hadn't done all the other bits yet. Okay, that's why, although she was married, she was still a virgin. It's not like now where you have like a 1 day affair. It was like after they actually sign the contract and agree on the bride price, the man is now expected to go away with his own father, build a place for him and his new bride to live, and acquire and save up the bride price. Maybe the bride price was so high that it would take him years to actually build up that fund. So, although she's off the market and technically married, they still are not living together and being sexually active. Okay, so it's not like now where people have children, they're living together, and then they one day realize, you know what, we're not going to find anyone else, we might as well just go and get married, and it's like a 1 day affair and then it's all over. No, it was like the complete opposite. Okay, so we don't live in a society where we have arranged marriages, and we do need to bring that kind of culture back, because at the end of the day, people who have a wider social network, they are more likely to find love. You see, because they're pushing this whole individualism, like people are living online, they're living through social media, they're living through, they're mostly at work, they don't have a lot of time to socialize because people have to move to be in jobs and things. As a result of that, people are quite isolated. They don't have the extended family and friend network that once we used to have, that enabled people to get paired off. When you have a limited number of friends, you are more likely to find it hard to find a partner. And the thing about it is this: a lot of black women don't like to admit that they don't like other black women. A lot of the women they surround themselves with are single and romantically unsuccessful. And then on top of it, you have like, women who are so busy pursuing their career and their education, they completely cut themselves off from social activities. And so this compound effect means that they are less likely to actually meet somebody. Okay, so as a result of the way that these women are living, they immediately become like spinsters at like 25, 30. Okay, so Kevin is out here talking about how we need to protect black women from us. And I'm like, no, Kevin, black boys need to be protected from black women, because it's black women who create these men in the first place. They are the ones who breed with them. They are the ones who date them. They are the ones who choose them. They are the ones who raise them to be what they are. If they are failing as black men, it's because of the environment they were raised in more than anything else. So, as I said before, these celebrities, they are just being used as puppets to keep the gynocracy going. They are being used as puppets and shills to keep the gynocracy going. Because at the end of the day, right now, you have a lot of black men speaking out on the problems in the black community and why black people are not thriving. And the black men are really attacking the issue at the heart of the matter, which is in communities where you have strong families, you have strong, a strong overall community where the values are right and the women are picking men based on the right things. This is what is actually going to build a functioning community. So that really disappointed me. And a lot of the issues in the black community are to do with the fact that black men keep the gynocracy going, and they listen to, your Derek Jacksons and your Farrah Grays and all of these men who love to pander to women. They do not, and I'm not saying that black men shouldn't protect black women. If there's an incident going down, a black man shouldn't intervene. Obviously, I believe take it on a case by case basis. But the reality of the situation is this: a lot of the problems that black women have are problems that they create themselves. And by turning around and actually turning back to black men, listening to the older generation of successful black men, A lot of the issues that we have with the toy-ins and the skateboards and the dumpsters, they wouldn't even exist. They would not exist if it wasn't for the fact that these boys were raised to be dysfunctional in the first place. So I'm going to leave the link in the comment section below. You can go and watch it. It's only a 2 minute, like a 2 minute video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.